So today I thought we had to talk about 100 Thieves versus the Guard on Ascent because it was a 13-0 and it was a performance apparently so bad that it cost two people their job. I'm not really sure that it was all their fault, but I'm sure there's things that I don't know as well. So anyway, yeah, what we're going to get into is 100 Thieves trying to attack against the Guard because it doesn't go pretty well, as you can imagine, if they get 13-0'd. And obviously it was a big shock, and 100 Thieves are kind of a big team, big name, so it's like, a even bigger shock perhaps. So let's talk about what really happened here. And the first thing we have to talk about is the comp, and actually somewhat the comp of both teams, because I was very surprised that we actually had a map of Ascent, like right now, without a KO for either team. I thought that that was like baffling in and of itself. But then also the main thing that everyone has been talking about is Asuna on this chamber. And NA loves a chamber. Oh my, do they love a chamber. I remember making videos, like when I first started doing this, about, where's all the chamber? I haven't seen many people playing chamber. Well, apparently it was just, we were just waiting for NAVCT because they all love chamber there in NA. I'm not quite sure that it's fully warranted. I do think that chamber is good. He's good, don't get me wrong. But better than Jett, good enough to replace a Jett, particularly in a comp like this, on a map like Ascent that is very defensive-sided. Personally, not for me, and especially for Asuna as well, who's known as, like, not the best opper. Just perhaps even more weird, right? But anyway, we're going to see the problems of not having a Jett and what that causes on this map. Because as I said, this is like the hardest map to attack on. This is the highest win rate percentage of any map in pro play for the defensive side, and by quite a way as well. So this is already a very difficult map to attack on, and not picking a duelist and replacing it with a sentinel, that's a risky move, and obviously it did not pay off very well at all for 100 Thieves. So let's take a look at some of the rounds and see what went wrong. So we're here on round 6. It's 5-0 currently, of course, and it's actually a save for 100 Thieves, but they are going to get the opening pick, and Asuna does have his ult, as we can see here, that he is using, and he's going to find the first kill. So let's run it through and see what happens. Now the time has already elapsed, but that's kind of par for the course with this kind of comp that doesn't have a great way of getting into sites quickly. They did take their time in a lot of these rounds and explore the map a lot, which is pretty common, and what you would probably expect for a comp like this. And then, the idea is, and this is similar to what we talked about with Liquid yesterday, is they're going to explore the map, take their time without any duelist, and then group up together and try and trade off. Now, if we just rewind that, because that's a pretty important kill, Saya here has an op on B main, and they pretty much know that, because I'm pretty sure he took a shot earlier at them in this round. So Baby J tried to jump peek it. Unfortunately, he dies. But they decide, well, they don't really have time to go anywhere else. We're under 20 seconds. So they have to just push onto this site. And they're going to, just try and overwhelm this Jett, I guess, with the op. And they also bring in this Astral Wall to try and isolate the Jett as well. But there's going to be a couple problems. And we're going to see those problems manifest now of not having a Jett with what happens next with Asuna, because Asuna basically just has to dry peek that and give Saya player another pretty free kill. But then other things are going to happen as well, right? So if we just think about what happened to Asuna there and we come back, so Saya player is going to smoke this off, right? We saw him put down that Jett smoke. Imagine that Asuna is a Jett all of a sudden. I want you to just imagine for me. And what would happen probably is Asuna would probably smoke this, dash in there, and then Saya player is in trouble, because now all of a sudden he can't just watch this because there's a Jett coming from down here, right? So now he's being like kind of pinched from two different angles, and that's a very difficult position to play with just an up, right? He's probably screwed. He might get one more, but he's probably screwed, and 100 Thieves probably get the site. Instead, of course, they don't have that Jett. Asuna just has to like walk out to the Jett on his own, and because of that smoke there, I mean, Asuna probably didn't play it perfectly there. Maybe they could have also waited for that smoke and then peeked out, but they do have an Astra Star there as well, so maybe not. It's it's all problematic for them with the time being as low as it is. But then also, as we run this forward, we're gonna get a second thing that is allowed to happen because they don't have a Jett, and that is the Sova. Now, as you can see, the Sova has reconned and it has pinged all three. And the reason that Sova is able to do this, and Sova, by the way, has also pushed through the wall, which normally you'd be like, whoa, don't do that, you don't know where they are. But that's the difference, right? Because they don't have a duelist, he does know where they all are. They have to all be there. There's no other position that they can be, And that again is the difference, right? If we imagine that there is a Jett that would have come down here before, this Sova can't do that. The Sova just can't do that, because then he doesn't know where this Jett is, and the Jett might be holding him, and he might just die for nothing, right? So he can't do that if you have a Jett. But because they don't, the Sova feels confident in, you know, going off his arrow. I know where they're all going to be roundabout. So he literally puts an arrow on the floor, as we're about to see, right outside of main, and it's going to go pretty well for him. And he does get traded out 1-for-1, as you might expect, but because the dart also pinged Ethan as well, Saya player is able to get the kill on Ethan, and then Hiko is left in a 1v3, you know, in a terrible position, and he can't get the spike down, and they lose the round, right? And I think in this game, 100 Thieves actually only planted the spike maybe once or twice, which just goes to show how much they really struggled to get onto site. It wasn't like these were even close rounds. This was shooting fish in the barrel for the most part, and there we saw a good example of why that was. So now let's come to round number 8, and again we've got, what, 35 seconds left in the round, and as you can see, 100 Thieves are going for this B hit again, but again they're gonna really struggle with this, you know, and they're gonna struggle to get even close towards the site. So let's take a look at what happens, and yeah, well, let's just run it through. So as you can see, they're coming in now. They destroy the turret, but then the nade goes off, so that slows them down even more. Again, only 30 or so seconds left at this point. We get a recon bolt in there that again is going to stop the push, and then what's going to happen is, as they Sova ult, and the Sova ult obviously is meant to create some kind of chaos, 100 Thieves get tagged, 2 of them, by that recon bolt that the Sova put up there as that smoke went away. I think the timing was a little unlucky for him, that the Astra smoke went away just as that third ping of the Sova dot came out, but even so, you know, it's not a great position to be in. And so what's going to happen is the guard, Valen here, is able to get 2 kills by just spraying through the smoke, right? And again, it's just that thing, again, they couldn't get past this choke point at all, right? Same kind of thing, right? If you have a Jett, the Jett, 1, probably smokes the dart, so it doesn't ping anyone. But secondly, again, the Jett is able to probably get into here, and if you're spamming here with a rifle, and the Jett's on site, well, at least that'll be a trade, because the Jett will see that the Vandal, you know, spray, and probably at least be able to kill that person and be on site and all of that good stuff. And as we play this through even more, you know, we're going to see even more problems. Now, Baby J does manage to get that kill anyway, but Eccles here loses the fight to Jonah P as he was trying to lurk. But even so, you know, let's even pretend that he won that fight, right? There's 20 seconds left. He would have been here. There's still 2 people here on site. Like, they don't have time to go anywhere else. They have to attack into these 2 people. It still wouldn't have been great. Like, that fight might look like it's a big deal, but honestly, in the grand scheme of things, in terms of the time problem, it might not have been that big of a deal at all. And as we play this through, you're going to see that they just don't have the time. Yeah, Jonah P is able to stall them a bit more, but they've literally got 2 people just sitting on site, as you can see here, and they end up losing the fights anyway, as they have to try and panic and just push in. And that was round number 8. So now let's come to round number 10. And what's just happened is Eccles has managed to find the kill on Sire player there. So again, 100 Thieves are, you know, a man up. And here we go, right? This could be the round. You know, they can win this one. Maybe then they can win the next 3. They have a chance, right? They should have a very good defensive comp. They have a chance. But it's almost as if the script writers of this game, this one was almost too obvious that, like, you know, you didn't pick Jett on this map. So, you know, here is just like another key reason why you definitely should have picked Jett, because maybe this Jett character is pretty good. And let's take a look exactly at what happens. I don't really need to talk too much over this one, because it's pretty obvious. Because what's going to happen is Cyplayer is actually dead at this point, but he's going to get rezzed by Jonah P here. As you see, there it goes, the res, and they bring over the Astra as well to try and help, you know, to protect the res, but the Astra actually dies. So, okay. They end up kind of in a 1-for-1 trade, and it's still a 5v4. So at this point, you know, still looking good for 100 Thieves, 5v4. But Sire player is, you know, gonna go Korean Jett on them, and Korean Jett's pretty good, because Ethan was finally the first person to actually, you know, try and get towards site, and then Sire player decided that no, that wasn't the case. And it was almost like, you know, just a full-on punishment for trying not to play Jett. And Hiko finally did find the kill on the Jett. Wasn't quite an ace. Cyber obviously goes nuts, but this is the thing, right? Like, this is the difference. And something else I don't really understand about Chamber is it feels like the Chamber probably is easier to play overall, But the skill ceiling of Jett is that. You know, like just round winning on your own is what Jett can do there. And like Chamber can, do some cool things, and as I said, isn't a bad agent, but you can do that. And, like, these are pro players. These are the best players in the world. Like, the best players in the world can do that. Like, quite often. We've seen it a lot, right? So this Jett character, it turns out, is pretty good. And then let's finish it off with round number 11. And here you can see that 100 Thieves are going for an A hit this time. So let's see how that goes for them. Again, they're going to Astral Wall. And you would think that in a comp like this, that, ulting and things like that would be kind of their best chance. Things like Astral Wall to try to get them onto site. But unfortunately, it just isn't enough. And you just don't have the space. And this is, let's just watch. Again, it's like fish in a barrel. So here we go. We are going to get that Astral Wall. We get the smoke. We get a dog there. And there you go. Sire player just is able to peek through. And it's the same thing to what happened to the last Astral Wall, as we said with the Sova, right? That because that there's no ability for anyone to be in like a weird position because they can't, they don't have that dash to get into like a different position. Where they're gonna be, so you can just kind of pre-aim it. Sire player just can just line it up from where he knows that they're probably gonna be. And with the Astra Suck as well, he's able to get two in one shot, as you can see up here. And, if we just play this forward, again, it's like there's just no way for them. Even with this Astra Wall up, it doesn't matter, right? Like, none of it matters. And they eventually manage to get, like, some way onto the site. But there's no way that they're winning this round from this point, right? Like, there's no way. They try and knife there. Eccles dies on the flank. And as soon as the wall goes down, it's over. It's just over. You're in horrible positions. And this is the thing, right? This is basically what was happening the whole game, is because you don't have that space creation, because you essentially, that Astral Wall, they couldn't even get a plant off. Like this Astral Wall that comes around here, that was a poorly drawn line, but you understand what I mean. This Astral Wall that kind of goes right here, that just gives you like enough space to plant. They couldn't even get that bit of space behind the Astral. Like they couldn't even manage to really get the spike down, because they had such little space. Like they owned none of it, even with the Astral Wall. And so that just goes to show, like, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work, okay? And I would be shocked if I'd be shocked if 100 Thieves, when they play Ascent again, don't end up putting Asuna back on Jett, because I think that this just showed it doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work.